Hey, what is up guys? So today I want to talk about my thoughts on Ana as well as all the other changes and buffs and technically nerfs over on the PTR, because now that I've gotten a few days to mess around with it, I want to give you my thoughts on it, because some people were making like their thoughts on it like day one. I feel like you need a little bit of testing, especially if you're also trying in the ranked section. You know, what are people doing in ranked? And now I've been seeing a lot more healers, and it might just be because everyone wants to try out Ana. But the thing is even after that, I feel like a lot of these changes, a lot of people have been playing a lot more D.Va, there's been a lot more Zenyatta's, like, there's a lot more versatility in what people are picking, and I like that. I like seeing a lot of different heroes see some play. But anyways, let's go ahead and just jump right into some of the patch notes, and I'll tell you guys my thoughts on Ana as well as some of my thoughts on some of the patches, as far as, like, what they've done to certain heroes. But anyways, first off, now when you self-heal, it now builds your ultimate. But as a result, they've made it so your ultimates cost a little bit more. So it takes you, technically, I think it's relatively the same. I don't know the exact like numbers as far as stats on that goes. But for the most part, when I'm looking at that, I feel like what some heroes can do, like let's say you team wipe, right? You get a team kill. I think at that point, what some players can do is they can, like, for example, if you're a soldier, you can just shoot the wall with your alt fire and deal damage to yourself, and then try to heal it up and build charges towards your ultimate. So we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. I know it's not that common to get like a team kill, but if it does happen, technically you can kind of build it a little bit faster. But so as far as Bastion and his ultimate cost is increased by 10, they actually did it in alphabetical order, but Roadhog also got that nerf where his ultimate costs longer. Or it takes longer to build, so it costs more, is what I should say. But anyways, it's a very small change as far as that goes. But as far as D.Va goes, the defense matrix cooldown has been decreased from 10 to 1 second. But it's a resource, so it's a toggle ability, so you can turn it on and off until it uses all of its like bars, so to speak. So that's really good. I've been seeing a lot of D.Vas be really good with this, and what they do is they actually time some of the shots. So for example, something like Roadhog, where he only has 4 shots in his gun, D.Va doesn't have to reload. So, you know, you can very easily time some of the shots on Rogue. So if Roadhog, you know, shoots you once, you can time that he's just gonna, you know, click on his mouse again. And what you can do is you can block each shot and also still shoot Roadhog in between the shots and in between the reloads. So that's a huge buff to D.Va. And then on top of that, her ultimate cost is decreased by 15%, and then the explosion delay is actually shorter, so it's reduced by 1 second from 4 to 3, and the explosion no longer damages D.Va, the player who activates it. So that's pretty cool, because I think it was kind of dumb that D.Va ended up killing herself some of the times, because you'd want to put in a really good location, but sometimes causing you to do that forces you to not be able to get out of it. And I think that it's not the biggest deal that D.Va is going to like survive. I mean, yeah, it can make the difference between winning and losing a game at certain times, but before that didn't really matter too much in one sense, because D.Va just didn't see enough play for it to realistically matter, especially if you look at some of the Chinese competitive games when they were rushing as D.Va. Like, that was pretty much irrelevant, because during like the first point when they would rush with the multiple D.Vas, which is not going to be available anymore anyways, you never really had time to build your ult, and on top of that, they would just try to stack the ults. If they were trying to, like, if the game lasted that long, they would stack their ults and then make it so the opponent couldn't contest. That was like the goal anyways, and the player that died would usually be able to get behind it. But for the most part, yeah, I just think that's not the biggest deal. Blowing it up was like reducing that time and ultimate cost. That's actually the bigger part. I mean, not destroying D.Va, it's definitely good. It's definitely in her favor, but most of the time players could get out of it if they were, you know, aware of what was going on. Next up, changes to Lucio as well as McCree. So Lucio sound barrier ultimate cost increased by 10%, and then the Peacekeeper now maintains full damage at longer distances, but will deal less damage at extreme ranges. So those extreme ranges, don't worry about that. It just lets McCree deal with Pharah. McCree didn't see too much play after the nerf anyways. I mean, there was some times where you've seen him once in a while, but for the most part, you did not see him. So yeah, McCree just not the hero to really go against Pharah. Until really now. Like, now he's just a much better pick against Pharah, and like Soldier saw a lot more play once McCree also got nerfed. Like, a lot of teams were doing the double, where they were doing double McCree previously. Now it's like double Soldier, but now we can't do double Soldier anymore. But next up, As far as Mercy goes, her damage boost will be increased from 30 to 50%, and then the effect will no longer stack with bonus damage provided by another Mercy. So you can't have like a bunch of Mercies stacking one Widowmaker to make her the god, unfortunately. The Resurrect ability ultimate charge has been increased by 30%, and then movement is no longer prevented during activation, and Guardian Angel instantly resets upon use. So, it's a slight buff in a sense to Mercy, because like every time she res, she'd always just like instantly die. But nonetheless, the ultimate charge increase makes her less viable. I feel like Mercy was literally used for a res. Like she didn't do too much outside of that. She was just a target to say, hey, you guys should totally go if you're gonna kill me. But for the most part, I feel like her ultimate did build really, really fast. Like, there's a lot of times where she'd just res one, and then you'd be like, okay, Mercy just used res, get on her. And, like, sometimes it would take, like, a minute, maybe, to kill her, because her team's protecting her, she's flying around. And then she'd instantly res all 5, and you're like, oh my gosh. So, I mean, personally for me, I like that change, only because I didn't really like dealing with Mercy in general, like when she would have the res over and over, like she would just use res and she'd have it again. I didn't like that, so I think that that's overall a good change on that. As far as the other stuff that I want to talk about, I talked about this earlier, which was the roll health ultimate being increased, but it doesn't really increase because you're going to be able to heal anyways and build towards your ultimate. The spread recovery will begin short after a short delay rather than instantly, so if you're bursting it, the spread is going to take like a little bit longer. So bursting is, I don't know if I want to say less viable, it's still as viable, but technically yes, that makes bursting a little bit less viable in a sense, because you could just hold it down RNG at Halo reach status, bloom, get lucky, right? But yeah, and then also the tactical visor ultimate increased by 10%, but again, it's to fix out when you're healing yourself, you're building towards ultimate. Anyways, next up, Zenyatta, the big shield's increased by 50, so instead of it being 50 health, or I'm sorry, it was 50 health and then 100 shield. It's now going to be 150 shield. And the harmony of Orb of Discord and Orb of Harmony, the projectile speed is increased by a ton. That's 4 times the speed. And then during Transcendence, you get to move double the speed. I think that's mediocre. Like, it definitely is a buff, but sometimes you're going too fast. I've noticed that, especially when Lucio buffs. This has happened a lot of times when I was playing on the PTR. If Zenyatta used his buff, and then Lucio used his buff, sometimes the Zenyatta would just zoom off the map. So it was kind of funny to see that. But yeah, that was just something that did happen. But next up, what I want to talk about, the projectile and the orb, it definitely is a buff to him for sure. As far as like the health option, like he's a lot more viable now. But before, like whenever I would see like an orb on someone, all I would do is I would instantly think, okay, if I was playing Genji, I'm going to instantly just go in and destroy the Zenyatta, because Zenyatta was so easy to melt. If you were playing Genji, he was just, you just go to him and you instantly just melt him. Very easy stuff indeed. But I think that overall it makes Zenyatta more viable, because he just didn't see any play. In the competitive scene, he used to see play when his orb just worked forever, and I think that was a little bit OP. Maybe they can work around something where like they can track the orb, so basically the orb would go, you didn't need vision. I was thinking about like what I would like, and I think that instead of having it so you had to have like a line of sight, they would make it so there would be like a direct line, like you would see where the line is going, kind of how Mercy when she's healing someone, you can see the direct line of where she would be at, so you can actually focus her. But I don't know, we'll have to wait and see what they do with that. I don't think that they would do that, but I just thought that would be interesting if they did that. But the Transcendence move speed I don't really care about. I think the 50 shield, the additional one, makes him definitely a lot better against things like Tracer, because like before, Tracer would just go to him and melt, because like if you would discord Tracer, Tracer would just be like, okay, I'm gonna shoot you a few times, if I take any damage, I'm just gonna instantly rewind to go back and then I'm gonna kill him. So he definitely becomes more viable. He doesn't have any like, he has a lot more, I guess, in his arsenal now to deal with certain things, because before, like, he would just die too fast. Now you can discord something and try to attack it and be just a little bit more valuable to your team, other than like just instantly if someone went on Zenyatta, he just instantly died. But as far as my thoughts are on Ana, I think she's pretty decent. She's not my type of a hero. As far as like the healers go, I pretty much just like, well, I guess in the healer or defensive support role, I think that I like Symmetra and I like Lucio. She's just not a hero for me. Like, I wanted to play her as like a quick scoper and do damage, and that's just not the role she really has. She can technically burst targets, but in the trailer, I remember them showing off the headshots, but it's just not even viable because it doesn't do any bonus damage because he has no multiply on it as of right now. But overall, I think a bunch of the stuff changed on the patch. Definitely it makes the other heroes see more play, and it's good. I want all heroes to see play in this game, whether it's at a competitive level or at a just a pub level, so to speak. I like seeing other heroes, but you guys let me know your thoughts on some of the stuff that we talked about. Do you guys like some of the stuff that they changed on the PTR? Personally, I like it a lot. I think that they are overall good, but I think that I personally would like to see Widowmaker buffed, not necessarily for the damage, but the ability to scope in, because as of right now, Ana has that, and I really just feel like that makes her just so much more fun to play. Like, it just makes, like, you know, like in Counter-Strike, you would swap to your knife. It just feels good. I just wish they added that. And also, as far as the one hero limit, I don't really mind that. It's did you guys, if you guys remember on the live stream the other day, like, there was 3 people that picked Torbjorn, and I was just like, no, please. But we won anyway, so I don't really, it doesn't bother me if we win when we're doing these crazy things. Like, here, I'm playing Zenyatta. I've always disliked playing him. But now with his 50 extra shield, he just, like I said, becomes a lot more viable in the game. But you guys let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section, or if you think that you have any good ideas for some of these changes, I'd love to know your thoughts down below in the comment section below as well. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys, and I'm signing out.